Hello, 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 ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Right, I've got a lot to get through today, and I just wanted to touch on conspiracy theories again because there are many things which led to my faith and led me to realizing who I am, reading the Bible, and believing, and conspiracy theories was one of them. So I'm going to go through various things. I've got a lot of reading to do, so I've got some water here as well. And I hope I can just blitz through this. Bear with me. So I wanted to start with Genesis 6. I'm just going to go straight into this, but bear with me, it will make sense. When men began to multiply on the face of the land, and the daughters were born to them, the sons of God saw that the daughters of men were fair, and they took wives of all they desired and chose. Then the Father said, My spirit shall not forever dwell and strive with man, for he also is flesh, but his days shall yet be 120 years. There were giants on the earth in those days. There were giants on the earth in those days, and also afterward, when the sons of God lived with the daughters of men, and they bore children to them. These were the mighty men who were of old, men of renown. You've all heard David and Goliath, yep. Goliath and his brothers, yep. The Lord saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination and intention of all human thinking was only evil continually. And the Father regretted that he had made man on the earth, and he was grieved at heart. So the Heavenly Father said, I will destroy, blot out, and wipe away mankind, whom I have created from the face of the ground. Not only man, but the beasts and the creeping things and the birds of the air, for it grieves me and makes me regretful that I have made them. Okay, so, that's the Noah story. But the beasts, the creeping things, and the birds of the air, what have they done? What have they done? And also, so there were giants then and afterwards. David and Goliath, blah, blah, blah. Travels down the rabbit hole. You hear of the tall whites, even supposedly during this war over there, Russia and Ukraine. Some of the Russian soldiers have said that they've seen giants. Okay. So, on to Book of Enoch, Enoch chapter 7. So, okay, so the angels, yep, they've bred with the women of the earth, blah blah blah, giants were born. And one of the angels, he was scared, but they all made a pact together and said, look, we're in this together. And so on and so on. And okay, so chapter 6, is it? Yeah. Chapter 5, 6. Well, anyway, thou hast seen what Azazel has done, how he has taught every species of iniquity upon the earth, and he has disclosed to the world all the secret things which are done in the heavens. Samyaza also has taught sorcery, to whom thou hast given authority over those who are associated with him. They have gone together to the daughters of men, have lain with them, and have become polluted, and have discovered crimes to them. The women likewise have brought forth giants. Thus has the whole of the earth been filled with blood and with iniquity. And now behold, the souls of those who cry out, who are dead, cry out and complain, even to the gate of heaven. Their groaning ascends. Okay, did I miss something? No. Jubilees, back onto Jubilees. Okay, so Jubilees goes in more detail. So that continues from Enoch and from Genesis. The daughters of the earth were beautiful, and they took wives of them, and they chose, and they bare unto them sons, and they were giants. And lawlessness increased on the earth, and all flesh was corrupted. All flesh was corrupted its way, alike men and cattle and beasts and birds and everything that walketh on the earth, all of them corrupted in their ways and their orders, and they began to devour each other, and lawlessness increased on the earth, and every imagination of the thoughts of all men was thus evil continually. And God looked upon the earth, and behold, it was corrupt, and all flesh had corrupted in its orders, and all that were upon the earth had wrought all manner of evil before his eyes. And he said, I shall destroy a man and all the flesh upon the face of the earth, which I have created. There we go. So, in the Bible, it says flesh was corrupted. In its way, alike men and cattle and beasts and birds and everything that walketh on the earth. Genesis. Plants of God lived, and that's all wickedness. Made. Will destroy and blot out. Mankind have created the face of the ground. Not only man, but the beasts and the creeping things and the birds of the air. See, corrupted by the fallen angels. So we all know of this. Maybe some do, some don't. But the fallen angels came. They slept with the sons of man. This is what fallen angels means. Like, angels are the sons of God. Okay. Yeah. So they slept with the daughters and polluted, and obviously they taught them this, they taught them that, they taught them sorceries, they taught them of war. This is what it all goes into Enoch. Astronomy. Taught men to make swords. Yeah. These are the prefects of the 200 angels and everything. They took wives, each choosing for himself, whom they began to approach, and with whom they cohabited, teaching them sorcery, incarnations, and dividing of roots and trees. So, like medicines, sorcery, incarnations, you've seen it, all the stuff, all the madness that goes on today. All those evil witch stuff. You've seen it all in the movies, but you see people still go into yoga and to tarot cards and to get their stuff read. What are they called? Tarot, whatever they're called. All that kind of madness. It's like when I was in the bookshop buying these, like there was so many people in the occult section, like, and you could see like these evil stars and all these evil symbols, and these people were just there buying, all interested, and it's like nuts, man. It's nuts. Where are we heading? Where are we heading? Do they know? Do they not know? It's just like that's everybody just going towards. And the women conceived and brought forth giants, whose stature was each 300 cubits. These devoured all the labour of men produced, until it became impossible to feed them, when they turned themselves against men in order to devour them, and began to injure birds and beasts and reptiles and fishes, to eat their flesh, one after another, and drink their blood. Moreover, Azazel taught men to make swords, knives, shields, breastplates, and fabrications of mirrors, and the workmanship of bracelets and ornaments, and the use of paint and beautifying, makeup, beautifying of the eyebrows, the use of stones and every valuable and select kind. Like I said, all this madness, these witches and their stones and their earth stones and you see, it's all from evil angels, man, kicked out of heaven for rebellion. That little sect kind of dies, so that the world became altered. Impiety increased, fornication multiplied, and they transgressed and corrupted all their ways, corrupted all their ways, corrupted all their ways, corrupted all their ways. Everything, you know, all splicing DNA, messing with animals. This is in the days of Noah. As in the days of Noah. Fully came in those sides in their ways. Armorers taught the solution of sorcery. Barkael taught the observers of the stars, astronomy. Akabil taught signs. Temiel taught astronomy. And Asaradel taught the motion of the moon. And the men, being destroyed, cried out, and their voices reached to heaven. You see, this stuff is happening now. All the madness which is going on behind the scenes, which you say conspiracy theories, like the people who have been experimented on, kidnapped, murdered for knowing these things, they're crying out, they're crying out, they're crying out, they're crying out. So many things on this earth are crying out. The sea is crying out, the ground is crying out, the animals are crying out, the trees are crying out. For us to take our natural place. For the Father to wake up and restore things. Okay, so I'm going to go back into... I'm going to crack on with Behold a Pale Horse. This is the book I was telling you about. The book's 30 years old. And it's all just coming out, like, it's all coming out. It's really hard to find, you know. You can buy it on Amazon. I'm sure more and more people are buying it. And it's probably expensive now. It's probably going to get more and more expensive. But I went on a mad book hunt one day, and I finally found it after going to like 15 different bookstores, like flagship stores all over London. And I finally found it. People saying, "Oh no, it's not in print anymore. It's not in print." Oh, and I already said in the previous video, I ordered one at a bookstore and I got the decoy book, and I was sent the decoy book. Okay, where was I? So, this is talking about like military intelligence, Area 51, all that stuff, and all the business and whatever. We are officially in contact with aliens. So let me get in, and then let me just trace along here. The events of Fatima in the early part of the century were scrutinized on the suspicion that it was alien manipulation. An intelligence operation was put into motion to penetrate the secrecy surrounding the event. The United States utilized its Vatican moles and soon obtained the entire Vatican study, which included the prophecy. This prophecy stated that if man did not turn from evil and place himself at the feet of Christ, the planet would self-destruct and the events described in the book of Revelations would indeed come to pass. The prophecy demanded that Russia would be consecrated to the Sacred Heart. You know, these mad secret societies and like they just go way back, way back, way back. Sacred Heart, that goes, they even use that in Game of Thrones. The prophecy demanded that Russia be consecrated to the Sacred Heart. It stated that a child would be born who would unite the world with a plan for world peace and a false religion. The people would discern that he was evil and was indeed the Antichrist. World War III would begin in the Middle East with an invasion of Israel by a united Arab nation using conventional weapons, which would culminate in a nuclear holocaust. Most of the life on this planet would suffer horribly and die as a result. You know, the return of Christ would occur shortly thereafter. There we go. So, yeah, the nuclear holocaust. Most of life on the human planet would suffer terribly and die as a result. Jeremiah 50:51, Revelations 18. When the aliens were confronted with this finding, they confirmed that it was true. The aliens explained that they had created us through genetic manipulation in a laboratory. They stated that they had manipulated the human race through religion, Satanism, witchcraft, magic, and the occult. They further explained that they were capable of time travel, and the events would indeed come to pass if the conditions were not met. Later, exploitation of alien technology by the United States and the Soviet Union utilizing time travel in a project named Rainbow confirmed the prophecy. The aliens showed a hologram, which they claimed was the actual crucifixion of Christ. The government filmed the hologram. We did not know whether to believe them. That hologram, this is where they get Project Bluebeam from. You know, alien technology. Alien technology. It's all fallen angels now, and it's just... the devil is a liar. Were they using our genuine religions to manipulate us? Or were they indeed the source of our religions with which they had been manipulating us all along? Or was this the beginning scenario of the genuine end times and the return of Christ that had been predicted in the Bible? I did not know the answer. A symposium was held in 1957 that was attended by some of the great scientific minds then living. They reached the conclusion that by or shortly after the year 2000, the planet would self-destruct due to increased population and man's exploitation of the environment without any help from God or the aliens. By secret executive order, President Eisenhower, the Jason scholars were ordered to study the scenario and make recommendations from their findings. The Jason Society confirmed the finding of the scientists and made 3 recommendations called Alternatives 1, 2, and 3. So Alternative 1 is talking about global warming, letting the heat escape, like blowing a hole in the firmament, and so they could escape as well. When I read this now, I can see that they're doing all 3. 30 years later, you can see they're trying all 3. But I'm gonna skip that and go straight to 2. Alternative 2 was to, and this has to do with what's going on right now, yeah. Alternative 2. What's going on right now with the yellow and blue. Okay. Alternative 2 was to build a vast network of underground cities and tunnels in which a select representation of all cultures and occupations would survive and carry on the human race. The rest of humanity would be left to fend for themselves on the surface of the planet. We know that these facilities have been built and are ready and waiting for the chosen few to be notified. You've seen it all these films that have been bringing out the last 30 years. I mean, Book of Enoch was on just the other day. Book of Enoch was on. You've seen it. Like, they all go to the underground bunkers, all the scientists and the philosophers and the elites and the presidents all get their little space on the ark or in the bunker. And alternative 3 is basically finding ways to escape the planet, basically. But I'm going to read this anyway quickly. Alternative 3 was to exploit the alien and conventional. Alternative 3 was to exploit the alien and conventional technology in order to select few to leave the Earth and establish colonies in outer space. I am not able to either confirm or deny the existence of batch consignments of human slaves, which would be used for the manual labor as part of the plan. The moon code named Adam was the object of primary interest, followed by the planet Mars, codenamed Eve. I am now in possession of official NASA photos of one of the moon bases. I believe that Mars colony is also a reality. As a delaying action, all 3 alternatives included birth control, sterilization, and the introduction of deadly microbes to control or slow the growth of the Earth's population. What have we been through the last 3 years? Come on, man. Come on. Include birth control, sterilization, and the introduction of deadly microbes to control or slow the growth of the Earth's population. AIDS is only one result of these plans. It was decided by the elites that since the population must be reduced and controlled, it would be in the best interest of the human race to rid ourselves of the undesirable elements of society. Specific target populations includes blacks, Hispanics, and homosexuals. The joint US-Soviet leadership dismissed Alternative 1, but ordered work to begin on Alternatives 2 and 3, virtually at the same time. You see, it's always us. Always us. You know what I mean? And this is why I can see, like, the blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans thing from other Israelite groups. You know? Because, I don't know, like, people, they feel that we need allies. Like, we know the end of the story. Blah, blah, blah. It's just all here. Oh man, sterilization, Planned Parenthood, like you know it. So it just goes on and on. Like, this book is so juicy, and where did I want to go on to next? Okay, yeah, I wanted to go on to 225. Page, 225. It's so good, man. It's so good. I mean, 30 years old. 30 years old. And this guy, he was murdered as well. You could just Google his name, like, and just get the brief story. Bill Cooper. Now this is juicy. And this is the whole reason why I wanted to do this, because right now in the UK on Channel 4, Film 4, we have Alien Week. This is so good. Another plan is in force. It is the plan to prepare the public for eventual confrontation with an alien race. It could also intend to make you believe in an alien race that may not exist. The public is being bombarded with movies, radio, advertising, and TV programs depicted almost every aspect of the of the purported true nature of an alien presence. This includes the good and the bad. Look around and pay attention. Someone is planning to make their presence known, and the government is preparing you for it. They do not want any panic. The unprecedented number of sightings worldwide indicates that public exposure is not far off. Never in history have there been so many incidents involving UFOs, and never in history have there been so many official acknowledgements. We had it just earlier this year with the Chinese balloons. They tried it again, you know. For many years, the secret government has been importing drugs and selling them to the people, mainly the poor minorities. Social welfare programs were put into place to create a dependent, non-working element in our society. The government then began to restore these programs to force the people into a criminal class. Also, the government then began to remove these programs to force the people into a criminal class that did not exist in the 50s and 60s. The government encouraged the manufacture and importation of military firearms for the criminals to use. This is intended to foster a feeling of insecurity, which would lead to the American people to voluntarily disarm themselves by passing laws against firearms, using drugs and hypnosis on mental patients in a process called Orion. The CIA inculcated the desire in these people to open fire on schoolyards and thus inflame the anti-gun lobby. This plan is well underway and so far is working perfectly. The middle class is begging the government to do away with the Second Amendment. Author's notes: I have found that these events have indeed happened all over the country in every instance that I have investigated. The incident at the women's school in Canada, the shopping center incident in Canada, the Stockton, California massacre, the murder of Rabbi Meir Kahane. The shooters were all ex-mental patients or were currently mental patients who were all on the drug Prozac. This drug, when taken in certain doses, increases the serotonin level in the patient, causing extreme violence. Couple that with post-hypnotic suggestion and post-hypnotic suggestion or control through an electronic brain implant or microwave or ELF intrusion, and you get mass murder, ending in every case with the suicide of the perpetrator. Exhume the bodies of these murderers and check for a brain implant. I think you are going to be very surprised. In every case, the name of the murderer's doctor or mental treatment facility has been withheld. I believe we will be able to establish intelligence community connections and or connections known to the CIA experimental mind control programs when we finally discover who these doctors of death really are. Due to the wave of crime sweeping the nation, the media will conceive the American people will Due to the wave of crime sweeping the nation, the media will convince the American people that a state of anarchy exists within the major cities. Come on, guys, come on. They are now building their case almost nightly on TV, daily, in the newspapers. When public opinion has been won to this idea, they intend to state that a terrorist group armed with a nuclear weapon has entered the United States, and that they plan to detonate this device in one of our cities. This is now being set up by the crisis in the Middle East. The government will then suspend the constitution and declare martial law. The secret alien army of implanted humans and all dissidents, with which translates into anyone they choose, will be rounded up and placed in a 1 mile square 1 mile square concentration camps that already exist. FEMA are the people whom they intend to place in these concentration camps, destined to make up the reported batch consignments of slave labor needed by the space colonies. The media, radio, TV, newspapers, and computer networks will all be nationalized and seized. Anyone who resists will be taken and killed. Whew. See, there's a lot there. There was a lot there. A lot there. There was a ending paragraph. I should have found that before I started, which I wanted to just finish on because it was so good what he says. No, it's not here. It's not here. It's here somewhere. Resist or be killed. The entire operation was rehearsed by the government and military in 1984 under the codename Rex 84A, and it went off without a hitch. When these events have transpired, the secret government and or alien takeover will be complete. Your freedom will never be returned, and you will live in slavery for the remainder of your life. And you had better wake up, and you had better do it now. Well, 3 years ago we were saying wake up. Nobody listened, so I don't even bother saying wake up anymore. It's just get ready. Get ready. Get ready. And yeah, the rest just goes on to talk about like when he's bringing out this information, and he's talking about the Kennedy assassination and how in the video you can see the driver just go over his shoulder and shoot people. All these agents just come out of nowhere and just like try to discredit him, try to mock him. It's like the same old tactics. Like, even I've felt that personally. I'm sure a lot of you have felt that personally. And like, we see you, you people who watch these videos because you want insight on how to get us, how to trip us up, what we know, what we don't know. We see you. You're so obvious. You're so obvious because your desperation is just, it's too much. Time's ticking. We all know. And we see you. We see you. We saw you over social media. We see you on the news. When you try to say conspiracy theories, you just expose yourself. You just expose yourself. Especially to people like us who are reading these books. Because it's just happening. It's happening. Where was it? Well, he goes on to make a statement where basically he says, "Oh, I'm aware that all this information I have compiled, somewhere in there is some misinformation to trip me up and to make me look stupid, because this is what these people do. There's a whole lot of truth there somewhere. It's there. The truth is there for you, because, like as you see in these books, in the Bible, that everyone is still under God's rules. Everyone is still under God's rules. They still have to play by the rules. Everything is under the Most High's control. Nothing will happen without the Most High allowing it. you know. Uh, and even he says, yeah, like, so it's all about discernment. Little pieces here, pieces there, pieces here, pieces there. So me personally, aliens means fallen angels. A lot of Israelites feel the same. We all know this, especially if you're both into the Bible and conspiracy theories. You know the fallen angels are the aliens. And what else was I gonna say? And yeah, use your discernment. Little pieces here, pieces there, pieces there. The films as well. It's just so much there. So much there. So yeah, basically, yeah. And I don't believe in space and all that nonsense and the other planets and the Mars colony. I think that's the stuff that's just been put in there to trip him up. Or it's code words. It's all about the underground stuff that's going on. These are where these people have been hidden. When you read these books, when you read the Bible, other angels came. They bound the fallen angels. They were buried under the Euphrates, under the deserts. They were buried. They were buried. They were buried. They were banished, bound. They're not allowed to come out. They're separated from the human race. Documentary really good to find. Above Majestic. That will blow your mind. Above Majestic. If you like about the Greys, the reptilians, and all this stuff, find Above Majestic. Above Majestic. You can find it on the, the stuff. You know these sites where you can get the latest films, basically. You know what sites I'm talking about. Ah, really good stuff. So, like, people, how many times do we have to warn you? Like, how many times do we have to invite you? We're not the bad guys. We are the ones appointed to expose this. We're the ones appointed to fight this. You know? How many times is Geneva, Switzerland gonna come up? Oh, man. Same old places, same old people, same old signs, same old symbols. I mean, like I said, right in the beginning of this video, after going through the conspiracy theories, I thought, you know what? After seeing all this evil, how can I not run to God? And anyone from Telegram who knows me, you know, it was all about coming together. It was all about fighting. It was about this. It was about that. It was about this. And you know I have a good heart. And you know. And even one of the main channels on, like, I used to be on in Telegram, even the host of that channel, like, he's giving his life and bringing it out. And I'm quoting the Bible now. You know, so it's happening, man, it's happening. So, the Hadron Collider, CERN, you know, whenever I hear about that thing, I just think of the angel with the keys and the big dirty chain. And the locusts and Apollo. But then I also think, like, is that you're going to open up the same hole that everyone's going to get thrown in? Because people, you really need to understand, what you really need to understand is these people, these workers of iniquity, the elites, the leaders of the world, they know this is true. Their minds are warped. They've been manipulated by the fallen angels. They've been told so many stories, so many lies. But, you know, they've been made rich. They're drunk. They're drunk on their riches and their lavish lifestyles. And they've been given all the desires of their hearts by these fallen angels. So, you know, one thing you need to work out and you need to decide is you ain't going to have a place to hide. These people are going to die horrible deaths in their hiding places. I know that. I believe that. Some of them are going to survive. A lot of them are going to survive. But if you're working for them now, you need to stop, because they're just going to leave you. You're going to be left to perish. They've made you promises. They're not going to keep them. You can still do some good. You can still turn around. You could still do some exposing. You could still take some of these people out. Nobody is fighting for us. No Q, no Trump, no General Flynn, none of that nonsense. None of that nonsense. They had their time. And they proved that they were just doing their job to cause divide among the people, to keep the patriots with their guns, who could have stopped this, who could have brought people to justice, to keep them docile. And they gave you all those idiots, the Proud Boys, and all those other peoples from secret societies, Brotherhood of the Snake, and all them people. They were working for them. But they made you believe that they were fighting for you and against this. But nobody's fighting it. Nobody's fighting it. So the time is too late to come together. It's too late. It's too late. Wake up. No, get ready. Get ready. New book arrived when Scotland was Jewish. Yeah. Cost me 40 quid, for crying out loud. They're not publishing that anymore. I wonder why. So people, there is only one way to escape. Change your ways. Accept who we are. Give your life to God. And come out of Babylon, lest you partake in her plagues. Because, as in the days of Noah, shall I quickly find it? Matthew 22? No, I don't have time. They were eating and drinking and enjoying themselves and taking wives and such and such. And then destruction came. It's coming soon, guys. It's coming soon. Good night. Think about it. Because when the miracles start, it's all over. It's too late. Thank you for listening. Good night. All praise to the Most High.